Revered Chairman Maharaj, respected and revered distinguished speakers on the dais, revered monks, dear brahmacharis, respected nuns, dear delegates and friends. The subject that we are going to discuss now is Swami Vivekananda in the light of his 158th birth anniversary. Christopher Isherwood, the celebrated American literature and a renowned Western biographer of Sri Ramakrishna, uses a very significant word in reference to Sri Ramakrishna in the very beginning of his biography of Sri Ramakrishna. He says, the story of Sri Ramakrishna is the story of a phenomenon. Now, what is a phenomenon? A phenomenon is an extraordinary event of nature, an event which no one can just explain why and how it occurs. It is like a tsunami or a cloud burst which occurs all on a sudden, leaving everyone in utter surprise while exhibiting the enormous power of nature. Thus, the term phenomenon applied in reference to a man denotes a person who is capable of leaving a tremendous impact upon the fate of mankind, involving a total evolution and revolution of human development. Ramakrishna, apparently a very unassuming and ordinary person, is indeed a phenomenon, and we just cannot comprehend him and his magnitude. In the perspective of his 158th birth anniversary celebrations, Swamiji also has proved to be a phenomenon himself. Over the last 4 years, from 2010 to 2014, the whole nation, nay, the whole world, has been observing and commemorating the event of Swami Vivekananda's 158th birth anniversary. Historically speaking, the 158th birth anniversary of Swamiji has been over in January 2013. But the enthusiasm of the people in general and devotees in particular, and that of a vast number of organizations and also of our state and central governments, is so spontaneous that the celebrations are still going on, not only in India, but also all over the world. We have never heard that the 158th birth anniversary of a great man being observed and commemorated over a period of 4 long years, either in our country or abroad, no matter how great and extraordinary the person or persons were, and whatever his or their achievements might have been. This event is indeed a phenomenon of history. The celebrations of Swami Vivekananda's 158th birth anniversary have proved that Vivekananda, when he was alive, was a very great person, a world mover. But after 150 years of his birth, and after 112 years of his passing away, he has emerged as a tremendous and colossal force. Much denouncement and much defamation had been conspired during his lifetime and also after his passing away, and the same is being done even today in some motivated quarters. But vanquishing everything, the fact shines like the sun itself that Vivekananda is the symbol of truth, of purity, of strength, of human excellence, and of eternal source of man's inspiration for his journey onward and forward. A few months before he breathed his last, Swamiji said that what he had given to the world is enough and more for the need of the next 1500 years. The celebration commemorating his 150th birth anniversary have manifested only the tip of the iceberg, which is Swami Vivekananda, the phenomenon, the man, the prophet, and the power. But the gigantic remaining part of the iceberg, the glory and relevance of Swamiji, will always remain beyond our comprehension like that of a phenomenon. Swamiji's beloved disciple, Sister Nivedita, could foresee this fact more than 100 years ago. In a letter to Miss Josephine MacLeod, another beloved disciple of Swamiji, Sister Nivedita makes a remarkable prophecy in 1906. She says, I quote, there will come a long period of obscurity and silence for the work that is Swamiji did. It will seem to be forgotten altogether until suddenly in 150 or 200 years, it will be found to have transformed the West and the world, unquote. Exactly after 150 years of his birth, Swamiji has taken a new birth, as it were, and has shaken the very foundation of human civilization with the fire of his perpetual relevance. The enormous enthusiasm of people, devotees, and scholars, as has been seen on the occasion of Swamiji's 150th birth anniversary, definitely proves that Swamiji is a perennial source of inspiration for our country and nation. I quote here Mary Louise Burke, the great American scholar on Swami Vivekananda, who writes, I quote, I believe that Swami Vivekananda's approach is still pertinent today and will continue to be pertinent for years to come. From what I have learned of current Indian thought, it appears that a number of modern Indians consider the Swami's views outmoded and no longer applicable to change conditions and ideologies. But from what I have learned of Swami Vivekananda himself, it appears obvious that his counsel is still of vital relevance, and that, if I may be permitted to say so, the Indian people will neglect his teachings only at their peril, unquote. I am reminded of what Barack Obama, President of America, spoke of Swamiji in his speech at the joint session of the Indian Parliament on 8th November 2010. He said, I quote, Swami Vivekananda is definitely one of the greatest to whom I am indebted for inspiration, who more than 100 years ago visited my hometown, Chicago, and made an extraordinary impact at the Parliament of Religions. His message was unity of mankind, harmony of religions, universal tolerance, and universal acceptance. With the help of this great message as my motto, I want to build the new United States of America, unquote. Pranab Mukherjee, President of India, concluded his inaugural address of the celebration of Swamiji's 150th birth anniversary by saying, I quote, Vivekananda was relevant in his time. He is still relevant today, and he will remain relevant till the human civilization exists, unquote. I remember the wonderful assessment of Krishna Parishads in respect of the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. He says, anybody who goes through the gospel is immediately struck by its obvious characteristic of eternal nowness. In every page of the gospel, we see Sri Ramakrishna is present and talking to us and solving our problems. This means he is present now and always and ever. We think that the same characteristic marks Swamiji's life and message also. It is also endowed with the wealth of eternal nowness, as we have seen in the remarks of the American president and the Indian president. Swamiji and his message is relevant now and also for centuries to come for India, as well as for the world at large. To this characteristic of eternal nowness of Swamiji and his message, we may add the characteristic of eternal newness also. Swamiji and his message not only bears the stamp of eternal nowness, but also the stamp of eternal newness. Swamiji and his message will remain always new to us, now and always. This eternal nowness and eternal newness, we think the world has discovered anew about Swamiji and his message at his 158th birth anniversary. Thank you.